I am the first way you catch yourself that you're out of the process again is when you're focusing too much on something around of you. So whenever you're doing that, because this is basically a process of consciousness, you see, so you tend to basically just lose focus of this, and you tend to then refocus on your wife or your kid or somebody, and then you need to step back. So it's too close, step back, reflect. And step back literally means that I stop looking at anything around me. And reflect means that I start to observe myself again. And it's basically not so difficult once you, it has taken me many, many, many years to be able to present this in this way. But it really boils down to the yin and the yang imbalance in ourselves, this stage. And it's basically a matter of, by reflecting, catching yourself in which pole you are. And we tend to indeed lose containment, start to focus too much on the outer world. And then we need to step back and reflect. And then what you will find when you reflect is that you are either being too much in the yang zone or in the yin zone. And the more you practice this, the more you will realize how subtle and elusive it is, and how easily you can get lost and you don't see yourself. And the problem when we're focusing on the outside is that you stop looking at yourself and you don't see yourself. So this stage is all about self-awareness, and and the dreams help us also to get a grip, a fix on whether we're going too much into the yang zone or too much into the yin zone. And because we don't focus on ourselves enough, we mostly become aware that we have been what I call been hijacked too much into one of the two sides when we go over what I call the danger zone. See, there's like a bandwidth between these two poles. This is actually a compass. What has emerged out of this is what you call a self compass. So it's a compass of how to you yourself to navigate in this environment. And the idea is to navigate between these two extremes, between extreme security and extreme insecurity. And then there's this bandwidth between these two extremes in which you are in safe zone. And beyond that, you get into the danger zones. So this is, and then the idea becomes, so the right and the left, if you wish. The right would be too conservative, and the left would be, the left would be too conservative and the right would be too liberal.
Okay, I want to go back a little bit about the dual reality we are living in, and that is the piece that you have that in one of your first video, and it's about so our mere observation of a certain situation changes it.
Yeah, look, the idea to relate that to the bipolar process is that, and this is one of the major tools that I use to get back into the center, which could be called also that bandwidth where we're in balance and where we connect to self. Because the whole idea is to connect to self with a capital S. Right. What happens with the bipolar mind is that when you're never really seeing a situation. What you're always seeing is your interpretation of it. And if you are, for instance, very secure, overly secure, you will tend to see the situation that you are in terms of, you will tend to downplay it because you're overly secure. You know, we have the idea of policemen that after the first 4 years of working on the streets, they have no accidents, and after 4 years they get killed. Then the overconfidence kicks in, and then you stop being cautious enough. So when you enter a situation within this stage, if you're not really centered, you will tend to experience the surrounding in the opposite terms of the state you are in. So if you're very overconfident, you will tend to underrate a situation. If you're very afraid, if your insecurity level is very high, you will overrate a situation, and then you will tend to feel it's a danger. And if you feel it's a danger, you will behave in ways as to elicit that in the situation. So then this perception will tend to interact with what is out there. And in that way, we tend to create our own situations based on the state that we are in. So a very good way to practice what I call containment is to realize, to say to yourself that the way you are experiencing the situation is a product of the state you are in, and that the situation is not necessarily of that nature. So if you're like feeling that the world is too big for you, then you need to say that it's not the world that is too big, but it's me that I'm a bit too afraid right now. And that's a way to be able to move forward without letting the two poles when they're too extreme to hijack us. Because if you become too insecure, and you will experience a situation that is so overwhelming that it will paralyze you, but it's not the situation. You see, and that's a very important tool, this, in order to find balance. Because what is reality? One could say is somehow reality is what is in the center of the between two poles. It's between a perception based on being too insecure or a perception based on being overly secure. And what is that? You don't know until you experience it for yourself. But most people that are really stuck in the Piscean stage are are not experiencing reality for what it is. It's basically they're experiencing the projection based on the state they are in. And this is an incredible tool to keep yourself in what I would call in a contained fashion. In the center, probably the reality would be of a complete different nature. You see, so towards centeredness, we would actually take a quantum leap to the next stage. And reality is not what classical physics makes of it. Reality is composed of stages like a video game. And in every stage, the very fundamental template changes of reality. So if you were to be centered, meaning containing your security and your insecurity, you would basically experience reality in the next stage, which would not be what it would be in the prior stage. You see, and that's when I recently posted a video of David Icke on my Facebook, where David Icke, the title of the video was "Why They Cannot Take David Icke Out," and he's basically speaking to this there because he's saying that if you were to walk around with a bunch of bodyguards, you would be really stuck in that projection of insecurity, and then you would be actually creating that reality. Because if there's this wonderful saying in the Tao Te Ching that if you put more police on the streets, you will get more crime. You see, so that's the stage we are stuck in the bipolar mind. If you are someone that feels that you are not special, you will tend to experience it in terms that your mother-in-law doesn't feel that you're good enough for your husband, for instance. But it's your feeling, and then you will create that. So people are stuck in their own projections, and they create this in their surrounding, and then this is of course rooted in childhood programming. In the center, in centeredness, when we contain the two sides, what we find at the center is something very much akin to what we find in the movie The Matrix. We are the little spoon boy bends the spoon, or we are Neo. The bullets that are shot at Neo just freeze in midair and fall down. What that means is, at the deepest level, what we find glimpses of, and this is what I spoke of in my prior video, of that we are entering a new world, is that at that stage, we start to realize that the world is, that it's actually an extension of ourselves. You know, that everything is one, and this is what we find in all of these spiritual sayings and teachings, that everything is one. And then basically we find glimpses that the surrounding is really, you are your own surrounding. It's basically self states. And that's what they really mean with what quanta are. Quanta are states, and then we go from one state to the next, and then in the state beyond pieces, you get then that people are acutely aware that the world is an extension of themselves.
This makes me think of a piece where people always talking about, is reality a dream? Is dream a reality? Are my dreams, they're appearing in day life? And what you're saying actually is that your dream is appearing in you are creating it in your day life. So dreams are reality.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is the problem. And this is also so the case in the stage of the bipolar mind. It's just that it's happening unconsciously. And becoming aware of this is in and of itself, it is the way to graduate from the stage.
Yeah, this is the difficult part, because your day life is actually mimicking your nightmare. So how can it not be true if it's happening?
Exactly. And that is exactly the problem why many people have a great difficulty accepting that they're in a dream, that they are actually in their own nightmare, both within and outside of the dreams, because people would go, it's real, is it? It's real that my mother-in-law treats me like I am worth nothing, and that she would much more prefer someone else for her son. Because we tend then, as I explained before this, we tend to project it on the surrounding, and the surrounding will pick it up and play it out with us. The surrounding is like a three-dimensional mirror, in the sense that it will play things out with us, and in a much more profound way than you can imagine.